Take a look at any modern construction machine. Go on, really look at it. It's a beast, isn't it? A miracle of power and precision. Now look a little more closely. Look specifically at the machine cab and ask yourself, why on earth is a human still sitting in there? And this isn't some fluffy academic point. I'm not trying to be deliberately contrarian or provocative. This is a fundamental challenge to how we work, how we treat our people, and how we measure productivity in the 21st century. But to get to that point, we need to take a quick, rough trip through history to see how we got here. In the good old days, when the forerunners of today's machines were first roaring into life, the operator's workplace was brutal and simple. Early steam shovels and excavators were uncompromising. The operator sat exposed, often just on a wooden bench or maybe a rough metal seat, totally open to the elements. They got the wind, they got the sun, and boy, oh boy, did they get the rain. But that was okay, right? Because back then, working folk were used to working outdoors. Bit of weather was just part of the job and they didn't complain. The first step away from that tough simplicity came because of pure misery. People demanded protection from the sun beating down and the water soaking them through. So we bolted a simple canopy over the seat. It was a fixed roof, and yeah, it helped when the rain came straight down, but it did absolutely nothing for the dust, the noise, or the rain being blown in from the side. It was a compromise, a half measure that said, we acknowledge this is hell, and behold, we've made things slightly less hellish. That flimsy roof didn't last long. Soon enough, we introduced the fully enclosed cab. Now we had walls, windows, and crucially, a comfortable seat. We weren't just protecting the worker anymore, we were trying to make the machine comfortable. We were domesticating the workspace, turning a noisy, dirty, open platform into a little refuge on tracks or wheels. Fast forward to today, and that little refuge has turned into a high tech fortress. It's an insane technological nerve center. Seriously, a modern cab is like the flight deck of an aircraft. It's packed to the rafters with screens, sensors, real time GPS, diagnostics, and of course, your personal Bluetooth connection for when you get bored. You've got climate control, powerful heating, and air conditioning, which are necessities, not luxuries, because the environment we've created is basically a tiny but complicated greenhouse, sweltering in the summer, freezing cold in the winter. And that's the first hint of the misplaced compromise at the heart of every modern machine. Every modern cab is encased within a rollover protective structure, or ROPS, and a falling object protection structure, or FOPS. They're expensive, heavy, non negotiable. Why? Well, they're there to protect the vulnerable human that maybe shouldn't be there in the first place. If you work in the field of demolition, you're actually seated within a protected cage. Now, let me say that last part again, just in case you missed it. You're in a cage. Look at the cameras. Why do we need an array of cameras and proximity sensors covering every single blind spot? Because the operator's position, no matter how high up or how ergonomically designed, is fundamentally restricted. The human being's presence is what creates the blind spot, forcing manufacturers to spend a fortune on complex electronic systems to fix a problem that is entirely of our own making. Here's the crux of my argument. Man was never designed to operate in a confined metal box that shakes his bones all day long. And now, with the advances of technology, we no longer need to. We could put the softest seats in the world in there and use the most advanced damping systems, but that operator is still being exposed to the lumps and bumps and vibrations of a site. Over a working lifetime, that physical compromise is what leads to bad backs, chronic fatigue, and muscular strain. We spend millions designing systems to isolate the body from the machine, but the solution is always imperfect and the wear and tear remains relentless. And that's when he or she is actually in the cab. Nobody's yet devised a cost effective, safe, and less physically demanding way of getting a man or woman on or off a machine. Instead, we accept worn out knees, hips, and ankles as an integral part of the job. And worse than that is the isolation. the acoustic barrier, which is required to save the operator's hearing from engine noise, but which cuts them off socially. They can't just yell to their mates 5 meters away. They have to use a walkie-talkie or increasingly their mobile phone. That direct human interaction, the bedrock of safe, efficient teams, replaced by layers of tech, all because of the prison we've built for ourselves. Every single thing we add to that cab, the climate control, the ROPS, FOPS, the heated seat, the digital displays, all of it is a compromise. It's a phenomenally costly, complicated bandage applied to the simple flawed premise of keeping a fragile human being trapped in a noisy, vibrating steel cage. The history of construction technology is defined by necessary surrenders. We threw steam power out the window for the cleaner, more reliable power of diesel. When technology moved on, we switched from heavy mechanical to the efficiency and precision of hydraulics. We were about to surrender our beloved diesel engines for electric or hydrogen because that's what the modern age demands. Now, isn't it time we applied that same ruthless logic of efficiency and progress to the operator's position itself? If the machine were operated remotely, the entire cab becomes redundant. ROPS and FOPS? Gone. Heating and cooling systems? Gone. The chronic stress and fatigue caused by the endless vibration and acoustic isolation? Wiped out. If the operator was sitting in a clean, quiet, ergonomically designed control room, their productivity would soar, their health risks would vanish, and the safety on the site would be absolute. Think about it. The blind spots simply don't exist when you view the machine from an external camera array. This technology is already here, being used. Our only hang-up is a psychological one, a cultural and sentimental attachment to the days of the wooden bench. We've stripped the machine of every piece of outdated tech, and yet we stubbornly cling to the man who sits upon it. We've spent a century trying to adapt the machine to the man. It's surely time to accept that the ultimate evolution of the construction machine means removing the man from the equation entirely. He'd be safer, more productive, less stressed, less claustrophobic, and fundamentally healthier if we finally accepted that man's place on a construction machine is now definitively at an end.